Imagination Storybooks presents The ABCs of Inclusion, Paving the Way for Equality and Understanding. Written by Beth Leipoltz. Narrated by Annie Donnellan. Audio description narrated by Tristan Snyder. And written by Bonnie Barlow, from illustrations by Anastasia Konovalyuk. On the cover, children gather in a park near and on a blanket. One boy uses a walker. A girl and a boy use wheelchairs. The children have skin tones of different shades, from light to dark. A child with dark skin tends to a smiling, light-skinned baby. Others listen to a little red-haired boy as he reads a book. A boy with dark curly hair looks at the boy in the wheelchair.
We live in a big world, and not every person is the same. Sometimes when you meet a new friend, you might notice they're different from you. Differences can be confusing at first, but when we take the time to learn about our differences, we might find some special ways we are also the same.
Two children look at a globe with the countries of North America, South America, the Atlantic Ocean, parts of Africa, and Europe showing. Different colored hearts mark the countries. One child has light skin and dark brown hair. The other has dark skin and dark curly brown hair. The child with dark skin blows bubbles. They smile.
A is for Arthur.
A brown-haired boy with medium dark skin sits on a rug. Near him is a white cane with a red tip. He holds a toy hedgehog.
Arthur was born very early and hadn't finished growing in his mommy's tummy. Because of this, his eyes didn't develop all the way. Arthur can't see anything. He is blind. Being blind doesn't stop him from doing the things he loves. Arthur is learning to navigate the world by feeling and listening to his surroundings. B is for Bates.
A boy sits on a swing on the beach near the ocean. He dangles his legs and bare feet. He has light brown hair and pale skin. He holds a book in his hands. Earbuds dangle from his ears. Nearby is a bucket, shovel, and sandcastle in the sand.
Bates has obsessive-compulsive disorder, OCD, and anxiety, so he interacts with his surroundings differently than some people. Bates doesn't like changes to his daily routines. He likes parts of his life to be especially organized. Sometimes he worries a lot. But Bates has an extra powerful memory and remembers everything. C is for Cooper.
Small stumps stick out from the ground. A little boy with red curly hair and pale skin hops from one log to another. Two brown and black dogs run with him. A building is made of blocks. He holds his fingers up in a sign. His thumb sticks out to the side. His two middle fingers are folded into his palm. His pinky and pointer fingers stick up in the ASL sign, I love you.
Cooper is deaf. This means he can't hear without help from a machine. Sometimes he likes to shut the world off. He uses his hands to communicate with sign language. He can tell whole stories with just his fingers. Being deaf makes some things a little harder for Cooper, but he also gets to learn 2 whole languages. D is for DJ.
A boy with long curly brown hair and medium dark skin sits on a colorful rug. He plays a toy piano. 2 stuffed lions sit near him.
DJ has something called osteogenesis imperfecta. This means his bones are very fragile. He had 2 metal rods put in his legs to help hold his weight so he could walk. DJ has had 16 bone fractures in his lifetime. This is a lot. He has to be very careful when running and playing, but he still likes to do both. E is for Emma.
A little girl with red hair and pale skin smiles. A stuffed whale lies next to her.
Emma was born with cerebral palsy. This means that her brain can't always tell her body what to do, and sometimes her muscles don't work the ways she wants them to. It can take longer for her to learn to sit, stand, and walk. Sometimes she might need help from a walker or a wheelchair. Emma's favorite thing is reading books, and she thinks the sound of sneezes is so funny. F is for Finn.
A light-skinned boy wearing a winter jacket, hat, and boots sits in a wheelchair. His chair rolls on the ice. He holds a hockey stick, and a black, round hockey puck is on the ice nearby.
Finn has hydrocephalus, which means that too much fluid can build up outside his brain. Some kids with this condition need a shunt to drain the fluid, but Finn doesn't. He just has to go to the doctor and get a special picture taken to make sure his brain is working okay. Finn can do all his favorite things like play hockey and dance to silly songs. G is for Gabe.
A boy with short brown hair and medium dark skin plays with colorful cars and trucks. He lines them up one following another in the order of the colors of the rainbow: red, orange, yellow, green, and blue. Nearby, a cat's tail sticks up out of a box it is exploring.
Gabe has something called Fragile X syndrome, FXS. It's not something you can see, but it affects Gabe's development. It may take him a little longer to learn how to do some things, like talk or interact, but Gabe is smart. His favorite color is lime green, and he loves to line toys up in color order. H is for Hayden.
A light-skinned girl rides a tricycle on a path past purple and pink flowers on bushes. She has a matching pink shirt and bow in her blonde hair that ties her ponytail in place.
Hayden was born with Sanfilippo syndrome. Over time, her body will stop remembering how to do things like walk, talk, and eat. She will need help to do those things. Even though Hayden doesn't talk out loud, her beautiful eyes communicate so much to her family. I is for Isla.
A red-headed girl with pale skin dances in a tutu. She smiles. Music notes fill the air.
Isla was born with Down syndrome. This happened because she was given an extra chromosome. A chromosome is part of your DNA, which is like the instruction manual for your body. This means she may look a little different, and she has extra pretty eyes. Isla used leg braces and a walker to learn how to walk. She works extra hard at therapy, and today she can run around with other kids. J is for Jacob.
A boy with dark skin and dark curly hair sits on a blue blanket on the grass under a tree. He blows bubbles with a little wand that he dips in a cup of soapy water. Bubbles float around him.
Jacob has a sensory processing disorder. This means that sometimes his senses get overwhelmed. Senses help us see, hear, smell, taste, and feel. Jacob doesn't like noises that are too loud or lights that are too bright, but he loves anything that vibrates on his hands, especially vacuums. K is for Keaton.
A boy with light skin smiles as autumn leaves fall all around him. They match the rusty brown color of his hair. He wears purple sweats. He is in a park with a slide nearby.
Keaton has something called Mowat-Wilson syndrome. Keaton hasn't learned to talk yet, but he works with a special teacher to learn how. Someday he will use a machine called an AAC to help express himself. Even though Keaton doesn't talk, he loves being around people. L is for Lily.
A girl in a red dress uses a wheelchair. She sits on a path in the middle of light blue flowers. She wears glasses and a tube carries oxygen to her throat. Her long brown hair hangs down to her shoulders. Her pale hands rest on the armrests of her chair.
Lily has Mobius syndrome and uses a wheelchair to move around. She can't move her face to show her emotions because her nerves don't work quite right. Nerves are all over your body, and they help tell your brain what your body should do. Nerves also help your body to feel things. Even though her muscles don't let her smile, she can still tell you when she is happy. M is for Micaiah.
A girl with light curly hair and white skin dances down a dirt path. She wears blue pants and an orange tee. She spreads her arms wide and smiles brightly.
Micaiah has albinism, which means her body doesn't make enough melanin. Melanin is what gives your hair and skin different colors. Albinism also changes how a person can see. Micaiah is blind, so she can't see as much as most kids. She still sees some shadows and light. Some days she may need to use a cane to walk. Even though she can't see everything, Micaiah loves to run around and spend time outside. N is for Noah.
A little boy with brown hair and light skin kneels on a rug and plays with a toy dinosaur. Music notes fill the air around them. A green plant sits on a windowsill, and books line a shelf. A string of decorative stars winds around the room.
Noah's kidneys didn't work the right way when he was born. You only need one kidney, so he had one removed. The other was replaced by one from his mom. This is called a transplant. Noah has to take medications every day to make sure his kidney keeps working. He also has to be very careful not to get sick. Sometimes this means wearing a mask when he goes places. By being careful, he keeps his kidney healthy and working. O is for Olivia.
A girl with dark skin and hair in small braids has a bow in her hair. She sings into a hairbrush. She raises her arm in the air as she performs.
Olivia might look different in a few ways. She has something called achondroplasia. This means she won't get as tall as most kids. Her legs and arms will be shorter too. But Olivia can still run and jump and play. With some extra help, she can do the same things as most kids. P is for Phoenix.
A boy sits on his knees on a chair at a desk. A monitor sticks to his dark skin. Curly brown hair sticks up on his head. He colors. A sloth and an elephant sit behind him on a dresser. Photos of artwork hang on a wall. A soccer ball rests on the floor.
Phoenix has diabetes, which means he has to be careful about the food he eats. Certain foods can change his blood sugar. That can be dangerous. Phoenix uses a machine to check this and takes a special medicine called insulin. As long as he is careful, he can eat most foods. Q is for Quinn.
A light-skinned girl leans against a pillow. Her brown hair sticks up in a ponytail held in a bow. She finger paints on a tray. A tube for breathing attaches to her throat.
Quinn was born with muscular dystrophy. She does a few things differently than others. She uses tubes to breathe and eat. This helps make sure she gets all the nutrients she needs to grow. She also uses a wheelchair to move around. Quinn may do things differently, but this doesn't slow her down. R is for Ryan.
A blonde girl with pale skin and freckles dances. She stands on one foot in front of a full-length mirror. She wears a t-shirt with a unicorn design on it.
Ryan was born with a heart that didn't work quite right. She had 5 surgeries before she was 3 years old. The surgeries helped her heart learn to build muscle and pump the blood her body needs. Blood carries oxygen throughout the body and to the brain. Ryan is like most kids, but she has to be careful to not get too out of breath when running and playing. Making sure her oxygen levels are healthy is very important. S is for Sage.
A baby with light skin lies on a pillow. Her right arm has no hand. Small toys lie beside her.
Sage was born without one of her hands, but she has a lucky fin. Since she doesn't have fingers, she uses part of her arm to help her roll over and hold toys. Sage might have to learn to do things differently, but she can still do them her own way. T is for Tyrion.
A boy with reddish blonde hair and light skin wears a red and blue cap. He kicks a soccer ball. A dinosaur decorates his shirt.
Tyrion has Goldenhaar syndrome. This syndrome means some of the facial bones near his lips didn't develop all the way. He had surgery to correct this. Someday his spine and organs could also be affected. But today, Tyrion likes to run and play with dinosaurs. U is for urban.
A boy runs with a toy airplane. His curly brown hair brushes his shoulders. He gives a wide smile. A pink flush colors his pale cheeks.
Urban has autism. He likes to do things a certain way. Sometimes it's hard for him to play with other kids since he doesn't talk. He loves to make friends, but he doesn't always know how because autism affects his nervous system. That is part of the brain. V is for Vanna.
A red-headed girl with light skin holds a baby doll and feeds it with a spoon. Butterflies flit about the blanket where she sits on the ground. The doll's bed and a backpack with toys sit nearby.
Vanna has a charge syndrome. This can create different challenges for kids. Vanna may look a little different because the muscles in her face don't all work. She has had many procedures to help her breathe and move better. She used to eat with a feeding tube, but now she's learned how to eat with her mouth. W is for Weston.
A light-skinned boy zooms on a wheelchair down a path around a lake. Pigeons fly around him.
Weston was born with spina bifida. When he was growing, his spine didn't develop the same way as most baby spines. This means learning to walk was much harder. Weston uses a wheelchair when he wants to move fast. X is for Xochitl.
A girl with light skin and long brown hair sits on a rock by a lake. Ducks swim nearby. She collects rocks.
Xochitl has a very rare disease, something only 300 people in the world have. It affects her muscle tone, which means she needs extra help standing and walking. Xochitl might have trouble expressing herself sometimes, but she uses English, Spanish, and sign language to communicate. Y is for Yeshwant.
A black-haired boy with medium dark skin plays hopscotch. A small black device like a headphone rests in his hair over his ear. A wire leads into his shirt.
Yeshwant was born deaf, so he can't hear on his own, but he uses cochlear implants. Cochlear implants are a type of electronic device that use magnets. When the magnets are on his head, he can hear. When they're off, he can't. Yeshwant is learning more about listening and talking every day. He is even learning 2 languages, English and Tamil. Z is for Zoe.
A girl with red curly hair and pale skin smiles. She sits in a wheelchair. A model of a molecule sits in her lap. A red bow holds her hair up. A plant stands on a polka dot rug in a sunny room. More plants sit on windowsills.
Zoe has epilepsy. Epilepsy causes seizures that make her body shake. A seizure can look scary, but the people around Zoe know how to help her if she has a seizure. Zoe also uses a wheelchair to move around. She loves to watch people and hear funny noises.
This has been The ABCs of Inclusion, Paving the Way for Equality and Understanding. Written by Beth Leipoltz. Narrated by Annie Donnellan. Audio description narrated by Tristan Snyder. And written by Bonnie Barlow, from illustrations by Anastasia Konovalyuk. This has been a production of Imagination Storybooks at imaginationstorybooks.org.